Indiana Fever come up short in overtime. 107-98, man, what a game did we watch last night. Cathy Engelbert, CBA agreement, leadership, now you piss me off. Caitlin Clark, unbelievable, all the support leading the team. We'll talk about that and more today on the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. Folks, 107-98. That's right, 107-98. I mean, we got to the tip of the iceberg. I mean, you have to understand, to take it to overtime in Game 5, there couldn't be any other scenario that you could have hoped for except that scenario right there. The Indiana Fever, prayers for Kelsey Mitchell and prayers for the injured players of the Indiana Fever. I haven't seen this on a basketball, and I was shocked. I was getting really nervous there, and here's the reason why. The Indiana Fever went into this game with 9 players, and if they would have won the series, they would have had to go play a 7-game series with 8 players. That's extremely difficult, and we can come back and revisit that, right? But overall, the Stars performed. Everybody had a great night. The players knocked down big shots. The Fever knocked down big shots. It went intensity from end to end. If you want to put lightning in a bottle, put that game in there. You finish up, I believe, 86-86, and you go OT. That's a win for the WNBA. That's a win for the WNBA players. And for the Indiana Fever to do this without Caitlin Clark, boy, that says a lot, right? That says a lot to do this without Caitlin Clark. But here's what also it says, that if you had Caitlin, you win the ball game. You are going to the WNBA finals and looking at winning a WNBA championship. And that has nothing to do, okay, with what happened last night. That's just the understanding of the intangibles and what would Caitlin have brought. Geez, if you played the game last night and Kate was playing, the Indiana Fever might have scored 130. Who knows? I mean, because the defense, everybody's tired. But the Indiana Fever can hang their head high. And this is the toughest part about it, folks, because when it's over, you understand there's no more games. It's hugs, kisses, crying, goodbye. Everybody's got to go back home. And it's just a tough moment because you don't want to watch TV. You don't want to watch anything. You don't want to see the highlights of the game. But the Indiana Fever got a right to hold their head up high. Lexi Hull, Boston. And again, folks, let's talk about the special whistle. See, this is interesting, right? Hold on. So what you got there, folks, is they talked about the special whistle. But the special whistle controlled the game last night. I think we can all agree. Because what happened? You complained, and Boston fouls out, right? You complain, and Boston fouls out. So everything that the Las Vegas Aces were sharing and complaining about the officials and the leadership and everything, well, the same thing you were complaining about just happened to the Indiana Fever. Because the Indiana Fever got no whistles at all in Las Vegas, right? No whistles. And the biggest thing that I saw the difference of the game, and I'll say this, I mean, there's always an intangible laying in there. The Las Vegas Aces blocked 10 shots, right? And then you get over to the Indiana Fever, they blocked 1 shot. So going ahead in the future, one thing the Indiana Fever is going to have to get a rim protector, somebody to step in there. Because if you're getting your shot blocked 10 times and the next team, you're only getting 1, well, that's a huge advantage, and it can make a difference in the outcome. Odyssey Sims came in there, 12 of 13 from the free throw line, 7 of 14 from the field. She had 27 points. So there was positives, negatives. There's a lot of things we can discuss, but normally what I like to do when it's the end of the season, it's the end of the season. Now it's time to look forward to the future, and what does the future hold? Well, the future holds Napheesa Collier's statement and the leadership. That one there kind of shocked me, right? Because I'm like, okay, we're taking the podium. Okay, we got something written out. And the first thing I'm going to ask, right, and everyone else, did you write this or did somebody write this for you to get here on the podium and speak, right? But you got to look at this, folks. And here's what I mean with this is you're questioning Cathy Engelbert's leadership, right? That's what's happening. You're questioning Cathy Engelbert's leadership. But it doesn't add up with Cathy Engelbert. And let me tell you why. Okay, so you got Duluth. That right there, when I went over there, I looked at Duluth, professional services company and accounting firms, right? And they're involved in the big four of the accounting firms. And so Cathy Engelbert was the CEO there, right? And she also broke the glass ceiling. And when you break a glass ceiling, folks, what it basically means is you're really just placed in a male-dominant alpha world, and no women have an opportunity to get promoted. Well, she did. Okay, and she's trying to, you're talking about leadership as to, I want to give you a good comparison, and let me try it this way. Okay, so Jeff Bezos runs Amazon. Amazon is a really big company, right? But what would happen if Jeff Bezos came and ran the WNBA, right? And things weren't going well, would you question his leadership, right? Same thing with Disney. I mean, these guys are pretty big. Adam Silver, same thing. John Stankey runs AT&T. If he had to come down, you got to understand, you got 250, 300,000 employees you're managing, and you come down to the WNBA and you're managing 150 employees, and what do? You question the person's leadership. And this one here is misrepresented by Collier. It's misstated by Collier to get there. And whoever led the charge to put Napheesa Collier up there, I mean, you got to ask yourself serious questions, because is this a skit? That's what Money Mike started saying. I said, is this a skit? And a skit is where on YouTube, folks, they kind of go out, they look at things, they put a script together, and then the people go act it out. It could be a fighting scene, doesn't matter what it is. So I'm asking, is this a skit? And let me tell you the reason why. I'm going to tell you a few reasons, about 3 reasons why I want to tell you, but why this seems like a skit to Money Mike. Okay, so Cathy Engelbert is one of the leading women in corporate enterprise business. Cathy Engelbert is a wizard. To come from Duluth, the company that she was CEO, got a annual revenue of $67 billion, okay? She is a heavyweight, and what I discovered, right, is when you look at A Few Good Men, I mean, she might outrank, right? Adam Silver, right? Because she's holding the purse strings to the money. So the WNBA players are questioning somebody who is your decision maker. Cathy Engelbert is the decision maker that you are talking directly. Most of the time when you do the gatekeeping, right, you don't reach the decision maker. That's why I couldn't understand why she said, we're going to make a deal on this, right? She pulls the strings, and the owners, she doesn't work for the players. Okay, she works for the owners, and the owners are the one who have hired her, and that's who she's working for. But the owners have given her full autonomy. They've given her full autonomy to make the deal. This is what's really interesting, because you're talking to someone who is very knowledgeable in business, has a tremendous background in business, has led corporations, has partners. You're talking to somebody. Here's what didn't happen. And I think Collier might not have done her due diligence, right? And when you have to do your due diligence, sometimes the WNBA players and fans and everybody, you need to vet the process, right, of Cathy Engelbert. Take a look at what Cathy's been involved in, the innovation and technology. Because I can tell you right now, Cathy Engelbert, for the WNBA players right there, she can make you a lot of money. And I'm talking about she can take you places that you have nowhere you would even have an opportunity to go. That's how much power she has. You were talking to somebody, and here's what she did. She wanted to let you know how much power that I had, right? She said, take a look at Caitlin, $16 million. I got every dime of that for Caitlin, right? Now, Caitlin said noticed, right? But what Caitlin was trying to say, from their generation, noticed, but for my generation, that's called duly noted, right? She pulls the strings. You're talking to the decision maker. And when you get, folks, you got to understand, when you get in the world, some people chase dreams or chase opportunities or they chase contracts in my world forever and a day, right? Because they're not talking to the decision maker. The WNBA players have the decision maker right in front of them, okay? Because it doesn't matter how life looks. If the CEO, he can want to go build a bridge. But the CFO, okay, has to get the budget and improve it and take it to get the funds, to get it approved, to get the capital, right? Cathy Engelbert, guys, this is a big, this is what Cathy Engelbert is to Money Mike. I'll tell you what she is. Cathy Engelbert is a whale. She's a whale in the business. In as far as women, business, technology, innovation, Duluth, that's a very big organization, does international business, has been doing business with the NBA, and the person who controls the numbers, right? The CFO is Cathy Engelbert. You have a CEO, a CFO, you can have a CTO, you can have a CIO, all chief executives, right? But when it comes down and you have these meetings, I can meet with the CEO, he can give me the vision, right? I can meet with technology, the IT directors, I can meet with them. They're gonna lay out the architecture of the network. Now, after we lay this out, and I gotta go meet with the CFO, CFO's gonna tell me whether they have the budget to do this. So it doesn't really matter what Adam Silver wants to do, right? You gotta follow me out on this. How much power? You're talking about power, folks. You're talking about somebody who Cathy Engelbert lives, sleeps, and drinks with Wall Street every day. This is the interesting about it. You got the decision maker came to the stud bud party and hung out with you, right? Now, here's her position. And for Cathy, she just wants, this is the main reason. Let me tell you the main reason with Cathy, what's important to Cathy. Cathy's body of work in business is complete. This is an A-list individual, right? Now, you got to look at the WNBA players. I want you to understand where I'm going. You got to look at the WNBA players and where they are and where they're at with their business acumen and where they're at in corporate business and understanding the business model, the revenue, expenses, safety, security, stability, right? And sustainability, right? Cathy takes individuals into technology in the future and become very efficient in doing that. That's her business. That's what she knows how to do. Guys, look, she's taken the NBA to the position it's in, right? Now, she came on board, right? She was already working with the NBA at Duluth. Here's what's interesting. See, so they already had a partnership. Duluth, her firm, who she is the CEO, had a partnership with the NBA already. They were already working with the NBA. So it classified and made a good fit, good synergy for her to come over to the WNBA, right? And she became the commissioner. Now, she's not looking to be here till I'm 80 years old or anything like that. She's trying to set these women up with the best position she can because her position is to close the CBA. And then after that, you can get whoever you want to run this league. But she's honored herself to say, I'm going to get you the best deal I can. I'm going to close this deal for the women. Now, here's what the women are doing that is bad, right? And you can get fired. I mean, in corporate, you get fired for this because somebody calls a VP, right? So the WNBA players are insulting, and the coaches are insulting the decision maker. It's hard to get to the decision maker. Cathy is the decision maker. And you got to put it all together, folks. When I say put it all together, you got to understand the organizational chart, the chain of command. You got to understand the partners she's worked with and how they do business and the partners, how much revenue are they generating. I'm going to tell you now, there is no better person right now today that could take the WNBA and move it into technology and move it in there where you are going to maximize your profitability. That's what she does. And that's called that Big Four group. It's like 4 huge accounting firms, right? You got to use them because they're going to understand how to get you to where you need to be. So when you want a project or you want to grow or you want to scale right now, that's what her company does. Right? And she does it with technology, so it actually reduces your cost, right? It reduces your labor load. And here's where it really, if you want to talk about WNBA players and intellectual property, okay, she's the one to talk to, right? So I think you're biting the hand, and nobody, guys, listen, I never look for favoritism, but if you're gonna go and insult somebody, here's what I'm saying: do your due diligence. Know that person's background or what accomplishments they have achieved before you start verbally assaulting them and questioning their leadership. I'm telling you, that's the equivalent of questioning. If John Stanky's running W, guys, you got to understand there's more to this than meets the eye, and you cannot. The WNBA players, the negotiation tactics that you're using are Neanderthal. Okay, this is coming out of the 1930s. This is like, This is a long time ago. And right now, the players, here's where you're going to lose. You're trying to go get money, but you should be going out there getting technology and intellectual property. That's where you're going to lose, because now you're not negotiating in the best position of your interest. You're not negotiating in the best position of the players who are coming, and you're not negotiating in the best interest of the players who are retirement and retirement benefits, because all of this can be solved, but you're going to need technology to do it. Unless the WNBA Players Union is sitting there with about, I don't know, 5, 6 CTOs, about 5, 6 IT directors, and you know how to build out an infrastructure. Because I can tell you that what they do, dilute, and what Cathy Engelbert does is what the WNBA needs. Now, you can bite the hand that feeds you, right? Because you pissed her off, right? And that's when she said to Caitlin, every dime Caitlin got is because of platform. She's right. She's right. The players, you got to understand this, folks. The players of the WNBA, they can brag, smile, cheat, do whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's your world. You're an adult, right? You're over 18. But without the WNBA, the players are nothing. They're Zippo. They are, because the recognition and the marketing that Cathy has set up for you so that you could be seen is an amazing task, right? And she got the budget approved for it, and really Cathy makes the decision. So if you want to sit there, WNBA, insult the leadership, I mean, do whatever you want, but you're going down a hole you're going to lose, because she controls a lot of business, a lot of partners, and she's one of the most powerful women. Leadership. When you have the corporate, the Fortune 100 comes to her to get advice and how to lead into the next future, and she's the one that does it, and she has the vision as a CEO, guys, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'd be very careful. Do your due diligence. Look at what she's done in her career, and you compare what she's done in her career to the WNBA. Folks, you can't find the WNBA on the balance sheet. This is like a favor for you, for Cathy to be working with you. And here's the deal. They all know Cathy. Cathy came over and cut the deal for the last CBA. So no matter how much pressure, Cathy's already made announcements, everything. She just wants to get this deal done and be gone, right? She's got to separate herself. And the thing that people got to be cautious for, the deal you're looking for, I would be very, very, very cautious, because she's the decision maker. She's the one that could put the ink on your contract. The owners trust her. The NBA owners trust her. Adam Silver trusts her. You're talking about not the CEO. That's what she was there, but that was the CEO of an accounting firm, Duluth. She is the CFO of making the determination and the decisions for this entire league, WNBA and NBA. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful who you speak to. Something like this, you start questioning leadership of a whale, okay, somebody who's really big in business, big in government business, well, you're barking up the wrong tree, and that's not a good thing to do. But nevertheless, here we are. Indiana Fever dropped one. I'm just so proud of the Indiana Fever, what they did. Proud of the fact that everybody played, took it to overtime. Can't ask for anything more than that. And I'm just thankful, the Indiana Fever, for me, I'm even thankful they didn't have to go on, because they would have had 8 players to play 7-game series. That's insane, folks. And that's something they have to look at. So the calls are what they are. You swing where you want to swing. It's a top-up. I thought the league would prefer to have either one of them, right? You can have Vegas or you can have Phoenix. Now, the deal with having Vegas and Phoenix, what makes it really so entertaining, they're really close to each other, right? So they don't have to go out. They're not flying across the country or anything like that. They're like neighbors, and they'll battle it out. But it's going to be a good turn. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. Folks, I thank you for tuning in. We'll stay tuned. We'll have a bunch to cover. My, what a season the Indiana Fever gave us. And ladies, I'm proud of you. Proud of your work, proud of what you did. Chin up, keep your head high, and keep marching forward, because the WNBA is here to stay. And all things are possible to those who believe. We'll see you soon.